There's a lot of lessons that I learned in my journey as an audio engineer and producer. Having managed a recording studio for 7 years and being in session with so many artists during that time, there's really 3 key takeaways that I got being in the studio with these artists. Number 1, you need to maintain the vibes as the engineer or the producer. Number 2, speed is key. And number 3, you are working for the artist. I'm gonna dive into each one of these a little bit more, so let's get right into it. As the audio engineer, you're basically an Uber driver. You need to make sure your passengers are comfortable. Your comfort comes second to everyone else. Suck it up and deal with it. Go above and beyond. You know when you get into an Uber and they have snacks and little games and all this type of stuff? You have to do the same thing. Offer snacks, offer water, offer Red Bull, offer alcohol, offer anything else the artist might want to indulge in. You just have to make sure that the artist is comfortable. If they're comfortable, they're gonna like working with you. You also need to make sure that the equipment is functioning properly. Come in an hour or half an hour earlier and test everything. Make sure the mic works, make sure the headphones work, make sure you have your plugins loaded up. This is, number 1, gonna save a lot of time in the session, and number 2, it's just gonna let it flow a lot better. The artist is gonna feel comfortable, they're gonna be flowing really easily, and it's gonna make you look really good. Also, don't be weird. Don't say weird shit. Don't try and be the funny guy. Just do your job. As you continue to work with artists, obviously your relationship will continue to build and you'll get a little bit more comfortable around them, but just be mindful of what you're saying. And then finally, for maintaining the vibes of a session, you need to understand that silence is the ultimate vibe killer. Always make sure there's something playing in the background for people to listen to. It also really helps to have a TV in the studio, throw on a game or something so that they can just watch it while they wait. Short silence while you load a plugin or change a setting or something is totally understandable, but making people sit there for over a minute in complete silence is unbelievably awkward. And nobody likes an awkward session. Going along with that, the second point, speed is key. In order to make sure there's not a lot of silence in a session, you have to be fast. So learn your key commands, learn your DAW, make sure you can navigate it efficiently, make sure everything is set up and ready to go. Use presets while recording just to get a general sense of how they're gonna sound. You can always go back later and change the mix and make it your own, but while you're recording, just get stuff loaded up quickly. If you're making beats in a session for an artist, learn how to make beats in under 20 minutes. The best tip I can give to maintain speed as a producer or an engineer is to just use broad strokes. Don't try and go all nerdy and adjust an EQ on a snare for 20 minutes. Just pick a good snare sample and load it up. Same thing if you're engineering their vocals. Don't get all fine-tuned and start combing out all the bad frequencies. You can do all of that later. That doesn't matter. What matters is that the artist can hear themselves, they sound loud, upfront, present, and they get a general sense of the vibe of the track. Also, just make a lot of stuff. If you're at home, make a lot of beats and practice and work out that muscle. Eventually, you will be able to make beats in under 20 minutes. It's really not as hard as you might think it is. And then finally, you are working for the artist. This one I think goes over a lot of people's heads because their ego gets in the way. If the artist has a vision, you need to do everything you can to achieve that vision. Don't compromise. If the artist says something crazy like, make me sound like a wavy robot, ask more questions to try and understand what they're trying to say. Obviously that makes no sense, but it's okay because they don't speak the same language that you and I might. We speak studio nerd, and not many people can speak that. You know what a phaser is, but many artists don't. You know the difference between reverb and delay, but many artists don't. Listen to the artist and ask questions to further understand their vision. Sometimes the artist will make bad suggestions, but it's not up to you to tell them that that's wrong. You need to just do it, and then they're gonna say, I don't like the way that sounds. And then you can suggest maybe something you had in mind. But if you come out the gate saying, no, that's not gonna work, we need to do it this way, the artist is, number 1, not gonna feel comfortable sharing ideas with you. And number 2, the artist isn't even gonna feel like you're working for them or with them. They're just gonna feel like you're taking the session hostage. Going back to the Uber driver metaphor, the artist is in control of the destination. It's just up to you to get them there. If you can really understand these 3 things and really drill them into your practices as an audio engineer and producer, you will find yourself leveling up and getting a lot more clients. While engineering and producing is a very technical endeavor, there's actually a lot of emotional intelligence that goes into being a successful one. You need to be able to read the room, you need to be able to understand what people are feeling in the session, and you need to act accordingly. If you have any questions or need any further clarification, comment down below or feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. I'd be more than happy to chop it up with you about this. In the description, you can find links to my services, sound packs, and beat store. I also just dropped a brand new Spanish guitar loop kit that contains 12 unique Spanish guitars for only 15 bucks, and I'll put a discount code in the description just for you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll see you guys next week.